वन्दे वन्देऽहं शारदां विशारदा वन्देऽहं शारदां विशारदां ज्ञानदां वरदां वन्देऽहं शारदां विशारदां ज्ञानदां वरदां वन्देऽहं शारदां विशारदां ज्ञानदां वरदां शारदा सुखस्वच्छस्वरूपिणीं स्वच्छहृदयनिवासिनीं सुखस्वच्छस्वरूपिणीं स्वच्छहृदयनिवासिनीं स्वप्रकाशरूपिणीं 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 वन्देऽहं शारदां विशारदां ज्ञानदां वरदां वन्देऽहं शारदां विशारदां ज्ञानदां वरदां वन्देऽहं शारदाम्.
This past 1.5 years has been a very stressful time for all of us with this pandemic, and in fact, it has created one of the big issues, most importantly for our education, particularly for our youngsters. And I think I should commend all the teachers for rising up to the occasion and making this still continue to be possible with this online mode, with what technology has to offer for us in the present day. I think all teachers have taken it in their stride and made it possible to see to it that this education need not be stalled because of this forced social distancing imposed by this pandemic. Now, more importantly, to uphold this tradition of this teaching learning process, the term of making it a noble profession comes about by what the teachers can do. And so this forum is mainly to see that we are able to recognize the efforts put in by teachers. And therefore, we are really very happy to see that there are these torch bearers all across, and they are doing what is necessary to see to it that our next generation are ready for what they need to do for the betterment of society, for the betterment of the world. With these words, I welcome you all once again, and thank you for being in our presence. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warm welcome and inspiring words. May I now request the relentless person behind the great empire of Rajalakshmi Groups, Dr. Mrs. Tangam Meghanathan, to deliver the keynote address.
A very good morning. Acharya Devo Bhava, Gurubhyo Namaha. Nallasiriyargalukku nal vanakkam. My hearty appreciations. அதாவது இது வந்து எப்படின்னாக்கா 25 வருஷமா கல்வி பணியில் இருந்துட்டு இருக்கோம் ராஜலட்சுமி குழுமம். நாங்களும் கொஞ்சம் ஸ்கூல்லாம் படிச்சிருக்கோம், காலேஜ்லாம் படிச்சிருக்கோம், மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் டீச்சர்ஸ் எல்லாம். பட் எப்படின்னாக்கா கல்வினா என்ன, வாட் இஸ் எஜுகேஷன் அண்ட் தி ரோல் ஆஃப் தி டீச்சர்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து எங்களுக்கு வந்து டே இன் அண்ட் டே அவுட் ப்ரீதிங் இன் மாதிரி. அதனால நாங்கள் வந்து இது ஒரு ரெக்கக்னிஷன்றது எடுக்கிறதுங்கிறது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப முக்கியமான விஷயம். இந்த டைட்டில் வந்து ஐ அப்ரிஷியேட் ராஜலட்சுமி இன்ஸ்டிடியூட் ஆஃப் டெக்னாலஜி அண்ட் தி ஆர்கனைசர்ஸ் ஃபார் திஸ். அண்ட் அன்சங் ஹீரோஸ்னு போட்ட போது நான் வர வழியில் யோசிச்சுன்னு வருதான் மோஸ்ட்லி இதனாலும் unsung heroes போது I was just thinking teaching is a profession that needs absolutely no introduction, because this is something like, you know, it begins from the time that you start recognizing your cognitive skill starts developing, you start learning. And who is your teacher? Nature is your teacher, your parents are your teacher, but there is a formal teacher to whom everybody, your parents take you to. So that role of that formal teacher is very, very important. We all know how it is. Like just now, Professor Sundar, who himself is a great teacher, was talking about the nobility of the profession. Apart from that, I would like to just say, I wouldn't say the teachers are unsung heroes, because teaching is a profession that needs no introduction. It doesn't. But are we singing enough? Or is it possible to sing enough for teachers? Two questions. Because, you know, there is no end to appreciating a great teacher. And we've always, I mean, like, we've come across great professors. To be very humble, we've had some few of the very good professors whom I've come across, and I've had a great pleasure of having conversations with them. Like, you know, we used to ஒரு ஜோக்கா ஒரு கான்வர்சேஷன் வித் அ வெரி சீனியர் ப்ரொஃபஸர். 4 மனுஷனை கொன்னவங்க அரை வைத்தியன்னு ஒன்று சொல்றா இல்லையா, அது மாதிரி 4 பேட்சை ராங்கா மிஸ்கைட் பண்ணிட்டான்னாக்கா அரை டீச்சர்னு போனாங்க. என்னன்னா, நத்திங், டீச்சர்ஸ் லேர்ன் அலாங் வித் தி ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ். Teachers come with a lot of qualifications, some experience, everything. A very senior professor who is an advisor with us, Professor Muthukrishnan, always says he's about maybe close to 80. But even till today, he says, I still learn from my teachers. I mean, I still learn from my students, you know. So that humility in the teachers and that need to learn for them, all that makes them great, and their professions cannot be sung enough at all, in my opinion. அதுக்கு வந்து, அதாவது அந்த காலத்துல பாடி பரிசு பெற்ற புலவர்கள்லாம் வந்து இன்னைக்கு டீச்சர்ஸா இருக்கணும். வெரி குட் டீச்சர்ஸ் ஆர் பாடி பரிசு பெற்றவர்கள். ஏன்னா அந்த பாடி பரிசு பெற்ற புலவர்களுக்கு இருந்த ஒரு மதிப்பு என்ன, ஒரு அரசவையில இருந்த மதிப்பு, நல்ல அரசவையில ஒரு பாடி பரிசு பெற்ற புலவருக்கு இருந்த மதிப்பு இன்னைக்கு டீச்சர்களுக்கு இருக்கணும். You know, that is very important. And we from Rajalakshmi institutions, our one mission is about student. But if the mission is about student, naturally it is only about teachers. You know, it is how far the teacher can be a parent sometime, teacher sometime, be a kind of a counselor sometime. You take multi avatars, and I'm very, very happy to be here with all of you. Like, but only thing today, இன்னைக்கு வந்து ஒரு small highlight I would like to just make a mention. Teaching is not a job. You know, it is not a job. It is a big art. உங்களுக்குலாம் தெரியும், நான் சொல்ல வேண்டிய அவசியமே கிடையாது. Teaching is an art. I always tell them, my teachers, I have so many artists with me. Very good teacher is like an artist. You know, he's got his emotions and he's got his, ரொம்ப நல்ல டீச்சரோட ரொம்ப ஜாகிரதையா பழகணும். ரொம்ப நல்ல டீச்சர் அவருக்கு எப்போ டக்குன்னு எப்படி மாறும், so intelligent, and he can, when you talk, he can perceive it in different forms. So teaching is just not a job. It is a very, very creative profession. And if your student can take away part of your intellect, as a takeaway. That's a great job done by teachers. And in fact, in the suggestion, recent suggestions about various industry forums and all that, the election manifesto, I've openly said teachers income tax cancel. There is no need for income tax for teachers. I am making this suggestion openly to different forums. Because we have to encourage ஒரு ஆசிரியர், நல்ல ஆசிரியர், ஆசிரியர் சொல்லும்போது நான் நல்லன்றதை சொல்ல வேண்டிய அவசியமே கிடையாது. நல்ல ஆசிரியர்கள் இல்லாத ஒரு சமுதாயம் விதை நெல்கள் விற்கப்பட்ட சமுதாயம் ஆயிடுறது. If you are going to do away with the seeds to be planted tomorrow, where will you go for your food? So with these thoughts, let me congratulate the organizers, congratulate all the teachers who are present here. Thank you very much for setting your foot in this campus. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for letting us know the importance of our teachers and inspiring us to be one. Now, I would like to introduce today's guests. Dr. Bhaskar Ramamurthy is an Indian academic who is the current director of Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. He obtained his BTech in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from IIT Madras and his MS and PhD degrees in Electrical Engineering from the University of California, Santa Barbara. He began his career at AT&T Bell Labs, and thereafter he joined the faculty of the Department of Electrical Engineering at IIT Madras. He also served as the Dean of Planning at IIT Madras before taking over the role of the director. He is the recipient of many awards such as Vasvik Award, Dawns of Madras Award, RWTH Honorary Fellowship Award, and many more honors. May I now request Professor Bhaskar Ramamurthy to give the presidential address. Please, sir.
Good morning. Am I audible? Can somebody confirm?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So very good morning to all those assembled at the campus of Rajalakshmi Institute of Technology. I'm sorry I'm not able to be present physically, but as Dr. Sundar mentioned in the beginning, technology is enabling us to communicate and interact even without being physically present to some degree. I don't think there's any substitute for face-to-face interaction, but at least it's not a complete loss. We are able to get a reasonable amount of our objectives met. So I am very pleased that RIT, first let me share my greetings with Dr. Meghanathan, Dr. Sundar. I've not met young Meghanathan yet, but I'm meeting him online this time. And but anyway, I would like to extend my greetings to them. Hopefully sometime very soon I'll be able to meet them all in person. Very happy that you are having this thought of this event and thought of this awards for teachers, school teachers, secondary school teachers. Well, awards are one thing, and I'll come to that. I think Dr. Meghanathan already spoke quite a bit about the importance of teaching and how the teacher's role is critical for society and how it's really not a job and so on. I would like to just extend to add to what she said in the very big, maybe at the outset, saying that you have formal teachers of the kind they're going to honor today, but actually teaching goes on wherever there is a selfless transfer of knowledge or skill. It happens at the workplace. It happens in any forum where somebody with experience, somebody with knowledge realizes that it's not enough for them to deliver with their knowledge and their skill. It's not enough for them to practice their skill or apply their knowledge. That for society to grow and for it to thrive, you have to pass this on. In fact, that is what distinguishes the human species from all others. And so once the person who's the current repository of that knowledge and skill realizes this, they see an urgency to actually pass on what little they know to the next generation, to as many people as possible. This is exactly how seeds, she used the lovely example of seeds. You know, you plant a seed, you get a tree, and you get not just one more seed, but you get thousands of them. So you are keen to pass on your what you know to as many people as possible, as well as possible. And this, of course, teachers, formal teachers do it in a formal process in the classroom, in the lab, and if they're at the highest levels of education through supervision of research and so on. But this goes on everywhere. This goes on on the job. This goes on when your boss, trains you. This goes on the shop floor. And I think all of us realize this. We all can spot a teacher when you see one and when you experience one. And sometimes, as I said, they are formally your teacher, but very often they are not. And gratitude for this whole, for gratitude, of course, is the only reward that a student can give to the teacher. And most teachers, in fact, see that as the biggest reward. The gratitude is both for the individual who is doing this selfless task, but also for the whole concept, this whole lovely idea that generation after generation you can pass this on, which is embodied in our notion of Saraswati. So I think, when we honor a few teachers as they're going to do today, it is just a way of honoring the entire concept. Of course, we are also honoring some individuals who are excelling, who are standing out. My hearty congratulations to them. But primarily, it is an honor to the entire concept by which we actually, in an endless fashion, pass on what we know to the next generations to come. The other thing that I'd like to point out is that what I see one of the things that has happened, everything has a flip side and a positive side. The pandemic has had a lot of negative aspects to it. Most tragically, we have lost people, and a lot of people have lost livelihoods. Education has been disrupted, particularly for the disadvantaged. There's no question that we have a lot to make up now whenever the pandemic eases sufficiently. But there are always some, unexpected pluses also, benefits also. One of the things that has happened is, I think, what I mentioned at the beginning, that we realize that all is not lost, that we can do quite a few things even with the restrictions. And so the attempt to keep things going through online education, through distance communication and so on, has taught many of us that there are tools available. They were always available, at least for the last few years, which we can use to extend the what we offer to students. I think teachers now, the good ones, will certainly not go back whenever things go back to normal to just the old way of doing things. I'm sure everyone is going to reset how they approach teaching. They will go back joyfully to the face-to-face interaction and all that it carries with it on the blackboard and so on. But I'm sure they will also continue to post material, hold online discussion sessions, and so on and so forth. And also give some flexibility to students if somebody is not able to come to class for some reason. Maybe they can continue to attend online. It's going to be easier and easier to conduct hybrid classes, because the kind of equipment and tools you need, it's just nothing more than a phone, actually. If you now see the TV reporters, they're just going around with the phone in their hands. They don't have to go around with the video cameras and satellite broadcast systems and so on. It's become so simple. So there's no reason why you need a big studio or anything for online classes, for classes to be held in a hybrid fashion. So all of this is going to happen. I'm sure the best teachers will adopt all these tools to enhance what they can, their ability to reach their students, to reach the minds of their students. So this is something that is going to for the good, but I see more possibilities than that. And that sort of comes out from as an extension of the interest that organizations like RIT is showing towards the secondary school teachers whose products are the feeder for the higher education system. There is in the NPTEL program that the IITs and IIScs run, we have extensive ongoing contact with teachers from thousands of colleges in the country. We call them local chapters. The faculty at these institutes who offer these courses are in touch with these teachers. They hold workshops, they interact with them, and in a partnership, we actually go about trying to see whether we can offer to the students something which they don't get as of today, whatever it is, whether it's a lecture or whether it's a demonstration or whether it's a tutorial, whatever it is, and enhance our ability to teach them, to convey to them the intricacies of what they are trying to learn. I think a similar, I'm not saying that colleges should start offering lectures to students, though there could be the occasional lecture, because actually school students are probably already overworked. They're already being, they're having a lot of TA classes. They're having many of them, take tuitions and so on. So, but I think there's a great potential for the teachers to be networked with higher education institutions in a more formal fashion, for a continuous interaction, for workshops to be held, but actually for more ongoing interactions to see how we can crack. It's really hard to, it's fairly straightforward to cover syllabuses. And, in fact, it's a very unfortunate terminology that we use. And it's my predecessor used to say, I think he used to quote some other person, I don't remember who he used to quote, but he used to say that our job is to uncover the syllabus, not to cover it. So, really have to, the task of trying to get students to understand at the core what the key ideas are. And in fact, more importantly, getting them to somehow conveying to them the ability to think on their own, so that the learning can be a lifelong process, whether they're learning from an individual directly or whether they're learning by observation. So the ability to think, the ability to figure out things on their own, the ability to learn on their own, this is really what we have to convey. And there's no simple procedure for that. There are no textbooks for that. There are no courses for that. We go through several processes of learning, both through classroom teaching, laboratories, hands-on projects, all kinds of things. And in this process, somehow, in the best of the institutions and in the best of the environments, the students, to a large extent, learn how to think on their own, how to figure out things on their own, how to figure out when they are wrong on their own. There's nobody to correct and give back your answer scripts. You have to figure out, you have to sense when you're going wrong. You have to keep checking yourself, find out ways of figuring out whether you're learning, you're going on the right track. So this thing is what we are all struggling to ultimately get across from generation to generation. And if teachers at all levels, higher education as well as schools, higher secondary, and ultimately I would think even to the secondary and primary level, if we can network and interact and see how to achieve this, how we can actually, in addition to the usual stuff of ensuring we cover all the modules and students are ready for the exams and so on, all of that is important. But how do we actually simultaneously make sure that in this period, the most important thing for which there are no exams is also achieved, which is teaching our youngsters how to think, how to learn on their own. This is even going to be so important for the next generation compared to ours or the previous generations, because of the pace, as we all recognize, pace at which things are changing. You have to continue learning. And while it's possible to get some amount of, reskilling and relearning and so on by going through formal programs throughout one's life, but a lot of it has to be self-taught and learned from the work environment and from observing things around us. So how do we teach our youngsters before they go out into the world how to do this? This is the most important thing. And therefore, if mere covering of syllabuses, getting high marks, I'm not saying all that is not important. All of that, but that alone is not enough. And earlier, pace of change was not much. You learned, if you managed to learn some things well, by the time you get out of college, you could probably get through most of life with that. But today, that's not so. And therefore, it's become more important for people to be able to learn how to learn. And I therefore would request everybody to think about how this connection that RIT is trying to establish with high school teachers can be made a more lasting one, where the key actors in the higher education system are interacting in an ongoing basis with the key players in the higher secondary system, so that this most important objective of getting our youngsters to learn how to learn, to learn how to think, is achieved. And you know, it's something that is certainly successfully happens in many institutions, in many schools, in many colleges. There are many people, therefore, who have a hang of how to do this, and interaction is the best way to spread the capability, to increase the hit rate, so to speak, in high school and in college. So I would really commend RIT for taking this step, but I would like to put the seeds of the thought that maybe can take this further. And just like we have local chapters and so on, maybe the RIT along with maybe some partners that you can get together with, create a network on an ongoing basis to engage with higher secondary teachers. Of course, cover mundane things like content and syllabus and learning and so on. Those are all important, but ultimately the main objective is how can we make sure that by the time the youngsters go through our system and step out into the world, they are ready to, they know how to learn. They know how to learn, they know how to think on their own. And therefore, if the world looks entirely different 20 years from now, that doesn't matter. They will be ready for it. In fact, they will be shaping it. It may have nothing to do with what they learned formally in school or college, but they will be actually driving it. That is the key. And I join everybody on the stage there, Dr. Meghanathan and others, in congratulating the teachers who are going to be honored today. And also, I would like to put these thoughts in their minds on how we can all jointly achieve this. And as I said, it has to go down further. It has to go down all the way to the primary level. The new education policy is very sweeping in its vision, as I had written some time back. And but of course, the hard part is the implementation, and it's going to take a lot from everybody to get many of the good ideas in that implemented. It even talks about teaching young children, even preschool children, as many languages as possible. It recognizes something that was very well known to everybody, that kids can learn any number of languages by the time they're 7 or 8. They can pick it up, and why not? If it's so effortless, why not teach them? Given our nature of our country, why not teach them at least 3 languages by the time they get into class 1 or 2? That's a good, fun way of engaging kids in preschool. But how are we going to implement that? That's the question. So there are many good ideas in the NEP. I think many of you would have gone through it. Many of you may have already started implementing parts of it. But this aspect of getting our youngsters to be able to learn lifelong on their own is also an important part of it. And I'd like to request everybody to think about this and see how we can do this. I want to thank the organizers for inviting me. Again, I regret my inability to be there in person, but I wish this event all success. And I congratulate the RIT, Rajlakshmi Group of Institutions, and the Rajlakshmi Institute of Technology in particular for taking up this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the significance of teachers and their selfless service in transferring knowledge to the student community. Thank you, sir, again for spending your precious time with us. May I now request our chairperson, Dr. Mrs. Tangam Meghanathan, to felicitate the guest, Mr. Sujit Kumar. Thank you, ma'am. Let me introduce our guest, Mr. Sujit Kumar. Mr. Sujit Kumar is the HR head and senior manager at Infosys. He got his Bachelor of Science degree in statistics from Loyola College, and then he went on to get his master's degree in social work, personnel management, and industrial relations from Loyola College, Chennai. He has been working at Infosys for more than 20 years now. He has founded Matram Foundation, which identifies students with poor background and funds their education by providing complete scholarships. The foundation also helps to set up libraries in schools. May I now request Mr. Sujit Kumar to address the gathering.
I want to first thank the chairperson of Rajlakshmi Engineering College for two things. One, for doing this lovely event to recognize the teachers across Tamil Nadu. What a noble idea. And second, personally, madam, in the mic paathu romba naal aachu enakku. Now, for somebody who does about 200 to 300 lectures a year, வாழ்க்கை ஃபுல்லாவே முகமூடி போட்டுட்டு ஆன்லைன் வெபினார் நம்ம பேசுறது அந்த பக்கம் கேக்குதா இல்லையான்னு கூட தெரியல. ஸோ லிட்டரலி ஆஃப்டர் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் அபவுட் in the last 1 year bearing two Sun TV shoots, I don't think I was ever on a podium. So thank you very much to Rajlakshmi Institute of Technology. இது ஏதோ புதுசா பார்க்குற மாதிரி இருக்கு. நீங்களும் சந்தோஷமா தானே இருக்கீங்க? எனக்கு தெரியல, முகமூடி போட்டிருக்கிறதுனால ஒருத்தர் கை காமிக்கிறார். சந்தோஷமா இருந்தா நீங்களே ஒரு முறை உங்களுக்கு கை தட்டிக்கோங்க. ஏன்னா அண்டர் நார்மல் சினாரியோ மேடம் இந்த ஃபங்க்ஷன் பண்றாங்கன்னா கண்டிப்பா இங்க ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் இருந்திருப்பாங்க, அவங்க காலேஜ் டீச்சர்ஸ் இருந்திருப்பாங்க டு அப்லாட். ஸோ டுடே பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் திஸ் பேண்டமிக் ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன் யூ ஹாவ் டு கிளாப் ஃபார் யுவர் செல்ஃப். ஸோ லெட் மீ ஸ்டார்ட் வித் ஒன் ஆஃப் தி இப்போ ஐஐடி டைரக்டர் பேசும்போது கூட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கேட்ட கேள்வி என்னன்னா am I audible அப்படின்னு கேட்டாரு. இதுதான் மோஸ்ட் யூஸ்ட் வேர்ட் இன் திஸ் லாஸ்ட் 1 year. பார்த்தீங்கன்னா am I audible அப்படின்னு. காலேஜ் லெக்சர்ஸ் எல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் டிஃபிகல்ட். ஸோ ஐ வாண்ட் டு ஷேர் ஒன் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் வித் மீ. ஸோ இது ஏன் சொல்றேன்னா இந்த பக்கம் இருக்கவங்க தான் அதிகமாக பாதிக்கப்பட்ட கேட்டகரி. இதுல ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸ் இன் ஐடி இண்டஸ்ட்ரி ஃபார் அஸ் ஒர்க்கிங் ஃப்ரம் ஹோம் இஸ் வெரி வெரி காமன் ஈவன் டியூரிங் த நார்மல் டைம்ஸ். என்னைக்கெல்லாம் போர் அடிக்குதோ லேட்டா இருந்துச்சோன்னா ஐம் ஒர்க்கிங் ஃப்ரம் ஹோம் அப்படின்னு ஒரு மெயில் அனுப்பிச்சா பாஸ் ஓகே சொல்லிடுவாரு. ஸோ வி வர் ரெடி. மார்ச் 24 திடீர்னு ஒர்க் ஃப்ரம் ஹோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்க ஸ்கூல் டீச்சர்ஸ்க்கு, காலேஜ் ப்ரொஃபசர்ஸ்க்கு எல்லாம், ரைட்? அண்ட் எவ்ரிபடி தாட் இட் வில் பி நார்மல். இட் கான் பி நார்மல். ஈவன் டுடே இட்ஸ் நாட் நார்மல், ரைட்? கிளாஸ்ல உயிரை கொடுத்து கத்தி சொல்லி கொடுத்தாலே அந்த பக்கம் உட்காந்துருக்கிற பையன் அப்படின்னு நம்ம முறைச்சு பார்ப்பான், என்னமோ பேசுற. இதுல ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸ் வேற. மை சன் இஸ் இன் கிளாஸ் 12. ஸோ அவன் லாஸ்ட் இயர்ல இருந்து ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸ் தான். ஸோ அவனை எப்போ போனாலும் ரூம்ல போய் கதை சாத்திடுவான். ஏன்னா முன்னாடி நம்ம என்ன பாடம் சொல்லி கொடுத்தாலும் கிளாஸ்ல இருக்க அந்த பையனை தாண்டி வேற யாருக்கும் தெரியாது. பேரண்ட்ஸ் டீச்சர் மீட்டிங்ல மிஞ்சி போனா பேரண்ட்ஸ் முடிஞ்சா ஃபீட்பேக் கொடுப்பாங்க, இல்ல டீச்சர்ஸ் நிறைய ஃபீட்பேக் கொடுப்பாங்க. இப்போ அப்படி கிடையாது. நீங்க பாடம் நடத்தினா என்டையர் வீடே உட்காந்து கேக்குது. ஓஹோ இப்படிதான் நடத்துறீங்களா நீங்க அப்படின்ற மாதிரி. தாத்தா பாட்டிக்கு மெகா சீரியல் எதுவும் இல்லை, அது வேற இல்ல. இப்போ லாஸ்ட் 1 year ஷூட்டிங் இல்லாதனால சீரியல் இல்ல. கிளாஸ் உங்க ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸ் தான் சீரியலாவே இருந்தது பல வீட்டுல. அதனால லிட்டரலி யூ பீன் இவாலுவேட்டட் பை தி என்டையர் ஹவுஸ் ஹோல்ட் அட் ஹோம். ஸோ என் பையன் கிட்ட கேட்டேன் எப்படா போகுது கிளாஸ் அப்படின்னு. எல்லா கிளாஸும் ஓகேப்பா, இந்த அப்ளைட் மேத்தமெட்டிக்ஸ்னு ஒரு கிளாஸ் இருக்கு, அது மட்டும் கொஞ்சம் ஏன்டா ஒழுங்கா சொல்லி தர மாட்டாரா? இல்லையோ சூப்பரா சொல்லி தருவாரு எங்க சாரு. அப்ப என்னடா பிரச்சனை? 45 நிமிஷமா அவரோட பேக் தான்ப்பா தெரியுது கிளாஸ்ல. நான் சொன்னேன் என்னடா சொல்ற? இல்ல அவரு வீட்டுல சார் பாவம் போர்ட்லாம் செட் பண்ணி அப்படியே கிளாஸ் எடுக்கிறாரு, பட் கேமரா ஆங்கிள் அவரோட பேக் மட்டும் தான் தெரியுது ஃபுல்லா. அது நீ சொல்லாமேடா. இல்ல சார் தப்பா நினைச்சு பாருல, ரைட்? Now the kids innocence says that look, my teacher is trying his or her best to do it, but technically we need to understand. I really want to applaud the teachers here and the larger fraternity back in your institution, because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. For somebody who's used to webinars, I struggle. எனக்கு அந்த பக்கம் உட்கார்ந்திருக்கவன் அட்டென்ஷன் கொடுக்கறானா இல்லையானே தெரியாது. லாஸ்ட் இயர் அரௌண்ட் ஆகஸ்ட் ஒரு இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜ் ஓரியன்டேஷன் ப்ரோக்ராம் போயிருக்கு. I will not name the institution. Okay. So 9 o'clock was orientation session. 9:15 வரைக்கும் பயங்கரமா பேசிட்டு இருக்கேன். I'm generally a high energy speaker. ஸோ பயங்கர பேஷனேட்டாக பேசிட்டு இருக்கேன். காலேஜஸ் will have a rule, வீடியோ has to be on mute, audio has to be on mute அப்படின்னுவாங்க. ஆடியோ கண்டிப்பாக மியூட்ல இருக்கணும், வீடியோ மட்டும் ஆன்ல இருக்கணும், ஸோ தட் ஸ்பீக்கர் கேன் see who's there. ஸோ ஒரு பையன் என்ன பண்ணியிருக்கான், ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸ்லாம் எப்படி நம்மளுக்கு அப்படியே பெட்ல இருந்து எந்திரிக்கலாம், ஒரு ஷர்ட்டை மட்டும் மாற்றலாம், பிரேக்ஃபாஸ்டே டேபிளுக்கு வந்துடும், சாப்பிட்டுட்டே அந்த பக்கம் கிளாஸ் லெக்சர் அட்டன் பண்ணலாம். மிஞ்சி மிஞ்சி போனா டீச்சர் ஏதாவது கேள்வி கேட்டாங்கன்னா, மேம் இன்டர்நெட் தேர் இஸ் அ ப்ராப்ளம் மேம், ஐ எம் அன்ஏபிள் டு அன்மியூட், ஐ வாஸ் ஸ்பீக்கிங் அன் மியூட். இதெல்லாம் தான் ஸ்டாண்டர்டா நம்ம சொல்ற போய் தானே இது. நம்ம கிளாஸ்லயே இருந்திருக்க மாட்டோம், டீச்சர் கூப்பிட்டுருப்பாங்க, சாரி மேம் ஐ வாஸ் ஸ்பீக்கிங் ஆன் மியூட் அப்படின்றலாம். ஸோ இந்த பையன் வந்து என்ன பண்ணியிருக்கான், தூங்கி எந்திரிச்சு காலையில ஓரியன்டேஷன் அவன் லேப்டாப் முன்னாடி தூங்குறான் பையன். இஸ் லிட்டரலி ஸ்லீப்பிங் தேர் அண்ட் ஹிஸ் மாம் பிரிங்ஸ் பிரேக்ஃபாஸ்ட் டு திஸ் பாய். அவங்க என்ன பார்த்தோன்னு ஒரு எக்ஸைட்மெண்ட், ஏன்னா அதுக்கு முந்தின சண்டே கல்யாண மாலை அப்படின்ற அந்த ப்ரோக்ராம்ல ஏதோ ஒரு டாக் வந்துருக்கு போல. அவங்க ஷி வாஸ் வெரி எக்ஸைட்டட் டு see me. ஐயோ இந்த தம்பியா நல்லா பேசுவாரு, என்னடா அவர் பேசிட்டு இருக்காரு நீ தூங்கிட்டு இருக்க அப்படின்றாங்க. இது நமக்கு கேக்குது, நான் ஆடியோ மியூட்ல இல்லை, நம்ம கேட்காத மாதிரியே ஐயோ என்னடா நினைச்சு பாருங்களேன், நீங்க பேசும்போது அந்த பக்கம் நான் தூங்குறான்னு தெரிஞ்சா எப்படி இருக்கும். இதையும் தாண்டி நான் கேட்காத மாதிரி பேசுறேன். அந்த பையன் முழிச்சு பார்த்திருக்கான் போல, என்ன பார்த்துட்டு அவங்க அம்மா கிட்ட மியூட்ல இருக்கிறது தெரியாம அவங்க அம்மா கிட்ட சொல்றான், அம்மா எங்க காலேஜுக்கு தான் விவசாய இல்லை, விடிய காத்தால 9 மணிக்கெல்லாம் இது மாதிரி ஒரு லெக்சர் அரேஞ்ச் பண்றாங்க, உனக்கு வேணும்னா நீ கேளுமாண்ணா. எனக்கு என்னன்னா விடிய காத்தால 9 மணினா அதுவே ஒரு பெரிய ஷாக்கு, விடிய காத்தால 9 மணியா, உனக்கு வேணும்னா நீ கேளுமா அப்படின்னா. இதெல்லாம் கேட்டுட்டு நம்ம பேசணும் பாருங்க, அதுதான் உச்சகட்ட கொடுமை, கேட்காத மாதிரியே. So I can completely empathize with you. It's not been an easy year. And if there is one sector which has been the worst hit, it's the education sector, especially the school sector. Okay. Not just from the teaching perspective, but the way some of our teachers were treated, unfortunately. I spoke about this in Sun TV itself because I had a very, very bad experience with one of the vice president of a leading company. அவர் வந்து என்கிட்ட சொல்றாரு, சுஜித் நீங்க சோசியல் மீடியால நிறைய எழுதுறீங்க, இந்த ஸ்கூல்லாம் ஃபீஸ் கேட்கறாங்க, கவர்மெண்ட் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க ஃபீஸ் கேட்கக்கூடாது, ஹவு கேன் தே ஆஸ்க் ஃபார் ஃபீஸ், மை சன் ஸ்கூல் தேர் ஆஸ்கிங் ஃபார் ஃபீஸ் அப்படின்னாங்க, யூ ஷுட் ரைட் அபவுட் இட், இட் இஸ் பப்ளிக் லூட்டிங். பயங்கரமா பேசினாரு. நான் கேட்டேன், ஜஸ்ட் 2 days பிஃபோர் அவங்க கம்பெனில வந்து 150% போனஸ் அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணியிருந்தாங்க ஃபார் ஆல் தேர் எம்ப்ளாயிஸ், 150% போனஸ். ஸோ வைஸ் பிரசிடென்ட் ஆஃப் த கம்பெனி ஆஃப் தட் கம்பெனி வுட் ஆக்சுவலி டேக் ஹோம் மினிமம் ஒரு 10 லட்சம் ரூபாயா இருக்கும் போனஸ் அவருக்கு, மினிமம் ஐம் டாக்கிங் அபவுட். So I asked him, how's your company doing? He said, very well, great. Corona has been a boon for the IT industry. அதெல்லாம் சொல்றாரு. Then I said, I heard your company has announced bonus. Yesterday I saw in the newspaper. Yes, absolutely. We are slogging, right? In fact, they should have given more. So I said, brilliant. But now that you've got the bonus, what's stopping you from paying your son's fees? Why are you so very reluctant? Complete silence. அதுக்கப்புறம் அதுக்கு ஒரு ஜஸ்டிஃபிகேஷன் சொன்னாரு. That's because we are slogging. Does not mean that we have to go. So what makes you think that teachers are not slogging? So we have been literally taken for granted. Okay. So I know many teachers have to take 50% salary, 60% salary because students are not paying. So the only appeal, when this man asked this question, I went to the social media and I wrote, if you can pay the full fees for the year, go ahead and pay it. Don't make this term fees and all this stuff, because teacher வீட்ல எப்படி அடுப்பெரியும்? Where will that money come from if the students are not going to pay for the fees? Of course, yes, you don't need to pay transport fees, transport, hostel and all this stuff. But in a way, எங்க அம்மா teacher, government school teacher. And I've been saying in many places that teaching is a noble profession. There is no doubt teaching is a noble profession. Noble profession சொல்லி. Ma'am சொன்னாங்கல்ல, income tax exemption. I remember this talk. I said, if there is 3 professions in the country which has to be the highest paid, I will put teaching right up at the top. Teachers have to be the highest paid profession. This has to be the highest paid profession. Simple reason, the best has to come to teach. Period. The best has to come to teach. That is how it was at least 20-30 years back. 1970s லாம் டீச்சர் பொண்ணு கல்யாணம் பண்ணணும்னா டீச்சரா இருந்தா கல்யாணம் பண்றதுக்கு வந்து was one of the most criteria. எங்க அம்மாலாம் அதுக்கு தான் டீச்சிங்கே படிச்சேன்றாங்க, apart from making a difference and all this stuff. இன்னைக்கு unfortunately the honest question is, if you go and ask young students who are studying in engineering colleges and some of the top colleges, I run a foundation, I have 1,600 students, how many of you want to be a teacher? சிங்கிள் டிஜிட்லாம் கையே போதும் மேல. So which means, and it's a fact, it is a fact that because I mean, if I cannot run my family all by myself, noble profession, great. நான் போய் டீச்சர் அப்படின்னு ஒரு கடையில சொன்னா எனக்கு அரிசி பருப்புலாம் 50% காஸ்ட்ல கொடுத்துருவாங்களா? Are there benefits? No. So it is a noble profession. In my view, I will say teaching is a calling. In Christianity, they say if you want to become a priest, கடவுளா உன்னை தேர்ந்தெடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னுவாங்க. And I always believe that in the profession, the skill sets, the attitude, everything is completely different as compared to what you want to be in HR or whatever. Maybe teaching, maybe medicine is a profession like that. Not all of us can become doctors, right? Not all of us can become doctors. Similarly, teaching is one of the most noblest profession. But அதை சொல்லி other skills and competencies நம்ம வளர்க்காம இருந்தோம்னா we will be just another person, right? So that way, I just want to look at what makes a great teacher. That's all I want to talk about, right? And I told you that my mom was a school teacher, Christ King Middle School. அதான் ஸ்கூல். நான் பல நாள் எங்க அம்மா ஸ்கூல்ல இருக்கிற சத்துணவு சாப்பிட்டு தான் வளர்ந்துருக்கேன். ஏன்னா வீட்டில் இப்போ எனக்கு ஸ்கூல் லீவ் அப்படின்னா எங்க அம்மா எங்க கவர்மெண்ட் ஸ்கூல் கூட்டு போயிடுவாங்க. And it was a school built for the railway coolies. அப்போ now unfortunately the school is demolished because there's a railway yard coming in. My mom used to work there in that school for 38 long years. டெய்லி நடந்து போவாங்க. அண்ட் ரொம்ப ஆச்சரியமான விஷயம் என்னன்னா, அந்த கவர்மெண்ட் ஸ்கூல் தமிழ் மீடியம் ஸ்கூல் இன் தாம்பரம். அம்மாவும் அவங்களோட ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸும் நிறைய இந்த ஸ்லம் ஸ்கூல் எல்லாம் போய் குழந்தைங்களை கூட்டிட்டு வருவாங்க. நான் சொல்லாமா அது உன் வேலை இல்லையே, why are you doing it? They say no, if the strength goes down, they might transfer few teachers, they might even shut down the school, so we cannot afford to make that happen. And Amma was a big inspiration for me. In fact, when I walked in, ma'am first சொன்னதே டீச்சரோட பையன் தான் உங்களை எனக்கு ஞாபகம் இருக்கு. I think that's how I want to be remembered as well. And எங்க அம்மா கிட்ட தான் நான் கேட்டேன், ஒரு ஃபேக்கல்டி டெவலப்மெண்ட் ஒர்க் ஷாப் ஒன்று பண்ணணும் for a very very reputed institution. So I was researching about making some notes and all this stuff. So I asked my mom about what motivated you to become a teacher. And நான் நார்மலா வந்து படம் வரைய சொல்லுவேன். இன்ஃபேக்ட் நீங்க நோட் புக் பென் இருந்தா உங்களே வரைய சொல்லியிருக்கலாம். Now if you have to depict your profession pictorially, what will you draw? நீங்க வீட்டில் போய் ட்ரை பண்ணி பாருங்க. உங்க வேலையை நீங்க ஒரு படமா வரையணும் அப்படின்னா என்ன வரைவீங்க அப்படின்னு. I've done this over this workshop in hundreds and hundreds of schools and colleges. Most common is people will draw a tree வரைவாங்க. அதுவும் அந்த ட்ரீயோட ஷேப் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பேனியன் ட்ரீ மாதிரி தான் வரைவாங்க, ரைட்? A lot of them draw a candle, mirror, book, இதெல்லாம் வரைவாங்க. எங்க அம்மாவை கேட்டேன், why don't you draw something? எங்க அம்மா பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா படம் வரைவாங்க. So I asked, அம்மா, you've been here, and my mom was retiring that particular year. So நார்மலா ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் போற டீச்சர்ஸோட மைண்ட் செட் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அவங்க லைஃபே அங்க விட்டுட்டு வர மாதிரி தான் இருக்கும் அவங்களுக்கு. So she was very emotional and all this stuff. I asked, why don't you draw? நாளைக்கு எனக்கு இந்த ஒர்க் ஷாப் இருக்கு, I want to see what you're going to draw. அம்மா கடன்னு ஒரு பேப்பர் வரைஞ்சாங்க. ஒரு 3D இமேஜ் மாதிரி இருந்தது. ஒரு செவுரு, அந்த செவுத்து மேல ஒரு ஏணி, அந்த ஏணி படிகள்ல ஒரு 2-3 ஏணி படிகள் உடைஞ்சிருக்கு. And that's how she drew. And I said, very intriguing image. I asked her, what does this mean? She said, this is the ladder and this is me. And when I'm saying me, it's not just me. This is how I see the teaching profession. This ladder has not moved. It's been here like this. And இந்த ladder மேல ஏறி போன ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸோட எண்ணிக்கை thousandsல இருக்கு. Thousands and thousands of students have gone up this ladder. ஏனிக்கு கொஞ்சம் வயசாயிடுச்சு, அதனால அங்கங்க படி உடைஞ்சிருக்கு. But the ladder will remain the same அப்படின்னாங்க. I thought, wow, it was just awesome. No, I don't think there is any better way to depict this profession. And she said this, see, today you can see a student as a celebrity or whatever, but அவன் ஏன் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்? அந்த வாத்தியாருக்கு ஒரு கர்வம் இருக்கும் பாருங்க. யூ கேன் பி ஹூஎவர் யூ ஆர். டே, அவன் ஏன் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்? எங்க அம்மாவை நான் ரொம்ப கிண்டல் பண்ணுவேன் அதுல. ஏன்னா என்ன வீட்டுல இருந்து ஒரு 2 kilometers ஆட்டோல கொண்டு போய் தாம்பரம் மார்க்கெட்ல காய்கறி வாங்க கூட்டிட்டு போவாங்க. திஸ் வாஸ் when I was a school kid. ஆட்டோக்கு 20 ரூபா கொடுத்து போவோம். ஏன்னா அங்க தக்காளி வந்து 1 ரூபா கம்மியா இருக்கும். எனக்கு புரியவே புரியாது அந்த மேத்தமேட்டிக்ஸ். அம்மா 20 ரூபா ஆட்டோல கொடுத்து போய் ஏமா 2 ரூபாய்க்கு சீப்பா வாங்கிட்டு வரோம். பக்கம் இந்த கத்திரிக்காய் தக்காளி எல்லாம் வாங்கும் போது எங்க அம்மாவை பார்த்தோன்னே தக்காளி விற்கிறவர் வந்து ஒரு 2-3 தக்காளி எக்ஸ்ட்ராவா கொடுப்பாரு. எங்க அம்மா அப்படி பார்ப்பாங்க, எஸ் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் அப்படின்னுவாங்க. நான் இப்ப எங்க அம்மா கிட்ட கிண்டலா கேட்பேன், ஏமா உங்ககிட்ட படிச்சு உருப்பிட்டதா யாருமே இல்லையாம்மா? தக்காளி விற்கிறவன் கத்திரிக்காய் விற்கிறவன் எல்லாம் இவங்க ஸ்டூடெண்ட் அப்படி என்ன பார்ப்பாங்க. பார்த்துட்டு இது ஈவன் several years after I joined work, I just joined Infosys then. அப்போ நடந்த ஒரு இன்சிடென்ட் இது. அப்போ நான் கேட்கிறேன், அப்போ சொல்றாங்க, தம்பி நீ வாங்குற சம்பளத்தை விட அவன் 4 மடங்கு அதிகம் வாங்குறான். இன்ஃபோசிஸ்ல வேலை செய்யற கர்வம்லாம் வேணாம். ஹீஸ் அன் ஆண்டர்பிரினர். அவனை தக்காளி விற்கிறவன்ட்டு கேவலப்படுத்தாது அப்படின்னாங்க. Now, as teachers, when you know what the difference that you make to the larger community, because in my definition, a great teacher cannot just be a great teacher within the classroom. It's not that 45 minutes which defines you that you're a great teacher. A great teacher will remain outside the classroom also as a great teacher. What you speak about a student in the staff room, how much time do you give? Because veru subject மட்டும் சொல்லி கொடுக்கிறது இல்ல. I mean, of course it is there. I mean, one of the most important quality if I have to rate is somebody who simplifies a subject. Have you seen teachers coming to class and saying, setting the context, this is a very dry subject, ஆரம்பிக்கும் போதே காலி. There is no way you can win the confidence of the teacher. Whereas there have been teachers with whom you get into the classroom, you didn't know how that 45 minutes just breezed through. You just wanted that teacher to continue the class over and over again, right? So a teacher who simplifies the subject is always a great teacher, and a teacher who extends that beyond the classroom, who can be a life coach, who can teach life skills for these kids, they are great teachers. So here are certain things that I wanted to talk to you about. First and foremost thing is the attitude which makes all the difference. A teacher is like a honeybee. There are teachers who will attract students like anything all the time. அவங்களோட attitude பாத்தீங்கன்னா எல்லாத்துலயுமே they will look for positive. And I had a great teachers like that. Or in simple words, just close your eyes for a minute and just think about your favorite teacher. Your favorite teacher. அவங்க யாருன்றதை யோசிச்சு பாருங்க. ஸ்கூல்ல இருந்தாங்களா, காலேஜ்ல இருந்தாங்களா? 3/4 பேருக்கு ஸ்கூல்ல இருந்தாங்க. ஸ்கூல்ல பிரைமரியில இருந்தாங்களா, ஹையர் செகண்டரியில இருந்தாங்களா? பிரைமரியில தான் நிறைய பேர் இருந்திருப்பாங்க. ரைட்? இட்ஸ் நோ ராக்கெட் சயின்ஸ். அஃப்கோர்ஸ் வீல் ஹேவ் ஃபேவரட் டீச்சர்ஸ். பட் அந்த ஏன் பிரைமரி அப்படின்னு அதனால தான் சொல்றோம். டீச்சிங்ல இந்த எல்கேஜி யூகேஜி பாடம் சொல்லி கொடுக்குற டீச்சர்ஸ் எல்லாம் கோயில் கட்டி கும்பிட்டுலாம். வீட்டுல ஒண்ணு வச்சு நம்மளுக்கு சமாளிக்கிறதுக்கே டே என்னடா இவ்வளவு கேள்வி கேட்கறேன்னா they are living gods for us. Now, if you go back and say, why has this teacher been very, very special? Not because they were kind and considerate, adallam qualities thaan. They always brought the best out of you. பயங்கர strict teacher, maths teacher பயங்கர strict, science teacher பயங்கர strict தான், but they always got the best out of you. And having a positive attitude is like going in search of diamonds. When you go in search of diamonds, you have to clear tons of dirt, but you go in search of diamond, not the dirt. Similarly, every child that we meet has a diamond inside, but we don't look at the diamond. Good teachers alone will have the ability to look at the diamond. They look for all the other things. எங்க வீட்டுல 2 பசங்க, நானும் என் தம்பியும். ஆக்சுவலா டெக்னிக்கலி பார்த்தா நான் இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜ் வந்து பேசவே கூடாது. ஏன்னா நீங்க யூடியூப்ல போய் வீடியோ பாத்தீங்கன்னா என்னோட வண்டவளம் தண்டவளம் நானே பேசியிருக்கேன். எங்க அம்மா டீச்சர், 2 பசங்க. சராசரியான ஒரு ஆவரேஜ் மிடில் கிளாஸ் மதருக்கு இருக்க அதே ட்ரீம் தான் எங்க அம்மாக்கும். பெரிய பையன் இன்ஜினியர் ஆகணும், 2வது பையன் டாக்டர் ஆகணும். ஒரு பருப்பும் வேகல. நானும் இன்ஜினியர் ஆகல, என் தம்பியும் டாக்டர் ஆகல. அட்லீஸ்ட் என் தம்பியாவது இன்ஜினியர் ஆனா. I didn't do that also. So in the school that I studied, எங்க டீச்சர்ஸ், எங்க பிரின்சிபலை தவிர 3/4 டீச்சருக்கு என்ன பிடிக்காது. ஏன்னா I was always outside, கிரவுண்ட்ல தான் இருந்தேன். எங்க இங்கிலீஷ் மிஸ்ஸா சொல்லியிருக்காங்க எங்க அம்மா கிட்ட. பேரண்ட்ஸ் டீச்சர் மீட்டிங்லாம் எங்க வீட்டுல ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா இருக்கும். எங்க இங்கிலீஷ் மேம்க்கு இங்கிலீஷ் ஹிந்தி தவிர எதுவும் தெரியாது. எங்க அம்மாக்கு தமிழ் தவிர வேற எதுவும் தெரியாது. நான் தமிழ் நல்ல ஆசிரியர். பேரண்ட்ஸ் டீச்சர் மீட்டிங்ல ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா இருக்கும். யோர் சன் இஸ் அன் அவுட்ஸ்டாண்டிங் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் அப்படின்னுவாங்க. இங்கிலீஷ் மிஸ் எல்லாம் பேசும்போது பாத்தீங்களா, ஷேக்ஸ்பியர் தங்கச்சி மாதிரியே பேசுவாங்க. அவங்க இங்கிலீஷ் சூப்பரா இருக்கும். ரைட்? The pronunciation looks so nice. So my English ma'am, your son is an outstanding student அப்படின்னாங்க. எங்க அம்மாக்கு என்னதான் தமிழ் டீச்சர் இருந்தாலும் அது புரிஞ்சிருச்சு. வாட் ஷி மென்ட் இஸ் அவன் கிளாஸ்க்கே வர மாட்டேங்கிறான், கிரவுண்ட்லயே இருக்கான். இப்படியே இருந்தா ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். But my principal was a very, very different lady. She saw, okay, this guy might not become a great guy in mathematics, physics and science and whatever, but probably something else. Probably something else was in this guy. And you know what? History repeated. 1994, when I passed, I scored miserable marks in mathematics. Chemistry, I managed to score 196 out of 200. Physics, about 188. Computer science, 182. Somewhere around decent marks, decent enough to get into an engineering college. And 94, you know, to getting into engineering, you have to write entrance exam like how we have for NEET and all this stuff, right? Now it's comparatively easier. Mathematics, I scored 71. இங்க மேக்ஸ் டீச்சர் யாரா இருந்தீங்கன்னா தட்ஸ் பேட் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சுப்பீங்க. I'll tell you the secret, not out of 100, out of 200. ஓகே, 200க்கு 71னா ஜஸ்ட் பாஸ். I was like shell shocked. I thought, that's it. My life ended here. Except for one lady, apart from my parents, there's only one lady who stood by me, and that was my principal. And I will never, ever forget that advice. And that's why I said, she is the most important career architect in my life. She walked up to me and she said, look, you're not a weak student. It's just that you lacked concentration. And that advice. And then she said, I can't imagine you sitting in front of the computer and working all the time. You might not be good with solving analytical problem, but you're good in solving people's problem. Look at a career and focus on your strength, what you're good at. And that was the biggest learning. To prove myself that I was not weak in mathematics, I went and did BSc statistics in London, which was equally tougher. And then I said, okay, now that I've proven that I'm good with maths and stats and whatever, I said, let me go and do a course in HR. And that's how I landed in HR. Today, I'm more solving people's problem, not mathematical problem. But the life lessons came from that one single teacher who decided to see that diamond in me. நிறைய பேர் சொல்லிட்டாங்க, வடிகட்டின முட்டாள், வாதியார் புள்ள மக்கு, எப்பற 71 மார்க், 100க்கு 71 கூட பரவாயில்ல, 200க்கு எப்படி 71 மார்க் வாங்கினேன்? These are common questions that were asked. Nobody bothered to tell me you did well in chemistry. Nobody said you did well in physics, right? And of course, if your benchmark is you have to score 200 out of 200, probably you are not there. But my request is to see that diamond in each and every single child. And that lesson is what I keep practicing with my children. When I'm saying my children, I'm talking about my Matram Foundation kids. Can I spot that diamond in that child? Number one is attitude. Second, a teacher definitely has to be enthusiastic. Your body language, the way you walk. Madam, I have noticed that. Did you see the way she walks? And there is so much that you can learn from the body language of people. Have you seen teachers coming in? Sala teachers, the starched sari, the way they walk, they come into class, the way they are groomed. I think it tells a lot of things. And enthusiasm is part and parcel of that. Shoulders drooping, class, I mean, there is no way. And the fact that many of you are winning these awards are probably, you will have that innate trait in you, because enthusiasm is contagious. A teacher who is enthusiastic will always attract students towards it, like a honeybee. So point number 2 is enthusiasm. 3 is creativity. There is this organization called Teach for India. They work in government schools, and I used to take sessions for them. The Teach for India classrooms will be very different. So 1-2 years, that classroom is given to a fellow of Teach for India, and they have to go and manage the class. And the classroom will be vibrant. A lot of paintings are beautiful. They bring out the creativity of the child. Now, creativity is something innate in each one of us. And you know, there are places, there are corporates, there are academic institutions which will kill creativity in the names of rules and regulations. So where there are strict rules and regulations, creativity does not come naturally. You want to make a small difference, it's not allowed. But worldwide research, and whatever I'm talking about are not just my findings. This is what worldwide research tells you. What's the quality of some of the world's best teachers? They say creativity is ranked number 3. And they say teachers who are extremely creative can hold the class, no matter what kind of classes that is. It's a primary school, higher secondary, or whatever that. Reflection, which means showing the mirror to yourself. Right? Am I going in the right direction? A simple question. When was the last time you did something for the first time? I repeat this question again. Please look at the answer for yourself. When was the last time you did something for the first time? In the whole year has been a pandemic year. We have all been talking about, I think Bhaskar sir spoke about reskilling. So the world of online education just opened up in the last 1.5 years. Coursera, Khan Academy, all these massive MOOC websites through their courses at phenomenal cost, right? 95% off, 96% off, there were courses which were coming up. Just we need to ask ourselves as teachers, when was the last time I reskilled myself? What was the last course that I attended? And teachers who reskill themselves, who upgrade themselves, always stand out. They always stand out. This is like the sharpening the axe story, which we have heard an umpteen number of times. And I always see that. And I've seen that in Infosys. Teachers, trainers who go and reskill themselves stand out from the audience. They are always top notch. So that's reflection. 4, of course, compassion. There's no doubt about it. Today, we need compassionate teachers. students unfortunately don't get that all the time at home. I'm into career counseling, but sometimes for very close friends, I do certain interventions. So I will never forget this incident. There's a friend of mine who said, "Dey, en kolanda thaniya pesrada, TV oda pesra." She's just talking to the TV. And this friend of mine was referred by a teacher. A primary school teacher is the one who referred. அப்ப அந்த பையன் அந்த குழந்தைய கூட்டிட்டு வர சொன்னோம். I was just talking. I asked the parents to leave. டோரான்னு ஒரு கார்ட்டூன் கேரக்டர் இருக்கு. I don't know whether you know that. And that's the favorite cartoon character, and she speaks to that cartoon character. So I started speaking to her. The kid was 6 and a half. And நீ என்ன கொஞ்ச நேரம் ஆயிடுச்சு. அப்புறம் நான் கேட்டேன், நீ என்ன டிவியோட பேசுவியா, டோராவோட பேசுவியா? ஆமாம்மா, டோராவோட பேசுவேன் அப்படின்னா. ஸோ என்ன அப்படின்னு விசாரிக்கும் போது she said, அம்மா ஆஃபீஸ்ல இருந்து வருவா, வந்து ரூம்குள்ள போயிட்டு அவங்க பிஸியா இருப்பாங்க கிச்சன்ல. அப்பா வரும்போதே ஹெட்ஃபோன்ஸோட தான் வருவாரு. அண்ட் வரும்போதே நான் அப்பா விளையாட போனா அப்பா ஹெட்ஃபோன்ஸ்ல இருப்பார். ஒரு நிமிஷம்டா செல்லம் அப்படின்னுவாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் தூங்கின பிறகு தான் வருவாங்க. தாத்தா பாட்டி ஊருக்கு போயாச்சு. அந்த வீட்டுல தாத்தா பாட்டி இல்லாத வீடு வந்து லைப்ரரி இல்லாத வீடு மாதிரி. ஓகே, அவங்க இருந்தா they at least take care. So the child has no one. It's a single child. And she says, it's Dora only communicates with her. Look at the irony. She just talked to the television. Psychologically, there's no problem. Of course, this kid will definitely need some kind of an intervention. But the problem is not about the child. It's about the situation back home. So many children, especially in government school, lack that compassion. அதுவும் இந்த டைம்ல the struggle that some of these children are going through. Look, நான் இப்ப என்னோட மாற்றம் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் ஸ்டோரிஸ் பத்தி மட்டும் பேசணும்னாலும் நீங்க எல்லாருமே கர்ச்சி வச்சுட்டு தேம்பி எழுதிட்டு இருக்கணும். The world outside is so cruel. So teachers who can bring in that compassion. முத்தரசின்னு ஒரு டீச்சர் இருக்காங்க கோயம்புத்தூர்ல. One of my favorite teachers, and I just got to know her about 3 years back through a news article. இந்த நியூஸ் ஆர்டிகல் என்னன்னா, பெத்த தகப்பன் தன்னோட பொண்ணை வித்துறாரு வாங்கின கடனுக்கு. எவ்வளவு கடன் எல்லாம் கேட்காதீங்க, 30,000 ரூபாய் கடன் வாங்கியிருக்காங்க. அந்த கடன் கட்ட முடியல, வட்டி மேல ஏறுது. சொந்த பொண்ணை வித்துட்டாரு கூட்டிட்டு போய். இந்த பொண்ணு எஸ்கேப் ஆகி ஓடிடுறா. She is in class 12. And normally we don't reveal our foundation students' kids, but this kid's name was all over in the news. Her name is Selvi. அவன் வந்து அப்பா வித்துறாங்க. அப்பா அந்த யார் வித்தாரோ அந்த பொண்ணு, அந்த ஆள்கிட்ட இருந்து this girl escapes and runs away. 4 months into hiding. ஊருக்கே வரல. அப்போ இந்த டிசி வாங்கணும். போர்டு எக்ஸாம்ஸ் மார்ச்ல அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. டிசி வாங்கணும். ஸோ ஷி கோஸ் டு த ஸ்கூல். அது வரைக்கும் அந்த டீச்சர் தேடிக்கிட்டே இருக்காங்க. ஷி இஸ் a PG physics டீச்சர். அப்போ அந்த டீச்சர் கிட்ட போய் டிசி கேட்கும்போது அந்த டீச்சர் சொல்றாங்க, கண்ணா இன்னும் 26 நாள் இருக்கு, நீ என் கூடயே தங்கி படி, என் வீட்லயே தங்கி படி. 26 நாள்ல நீ பாஸ் ஆயிட்டேன்னா அதுக்கப்புறம் டிசியும் கொடுத்துருவாங்க, உனக்கு 12th முடிச்சிட்டேன்ற ஒரு இருக்கும், நீ மேலதான் படிக்கலாம். முன்னால அந்த பொண்ணு அவங்களோடய தங்க வச்சு 26 days she coached, and this girl managed to score 65%, right, in 12th board exam. So this article came up in the newspaper, and that's when I got to know about her. And she now pursues BE computer science engineering in one of the topmost engineering college in Coimbatore. Now yesterday she sent me a message, and that immediate recall, she finished her 3rd year. Now she's getting into the 3rd year, or the 2nd to 3rd year. But I'll never forget that one teacher. Now you know what that one teacher does? Every year she goes for looking for such students, poor students. பண்ணணும்ன்ற அவசியமே கிடையாது, கிளாஸ்ல இருக்கணும், அதுக்கு நான் பாடம் சொல்லி கொடுக்கறதுக்கு எனக்கு சம்பளம் கொடுக்குறாங்க. But it is that compassion in that teacher which goes that. I can give you n number of examples. There's a lady called Bhupati Priya she's again a government school teacher. ஆனா என்னன்னா இந்த டீச்சர்ஸ் கிட்ட பேசும்போதெல்லாம் வருத்தமா இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரே ஒரு விஷயம், such teachers are looked very differently in their own schools. Who want to make a difference are looked very differently by the fellow teachers in the school. உனக்கு எதுக்கு வேண்டாத வேலை, நீ பண்றதால என்ன இதை பண்ண சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல, நீ பண்ற, but you are making, and this is true in all professions. Have you heard about Auto Annadurai? கூகுள் பண்ணி பாருங்க. OMRல he drives a auto. அந்த ஆட்டோ அண்ணாதுரைய மத்த ஆட்டோ டிரைவர் பைத்தியக்காரன் தான் கூப்பிடுறாங்க. ஏன்டா ஆட்டோல மொபைல் போன் வச்சிருக்க, லேப்டாப் வச்சிருக்க, டோக்கன் கொடுக்குற, நாராயணமூர்த்தி பர்த்டே அன்னைக்கு இன்ஃபோசிஸ் ஸ்டாஃப்க்கு ஃப்ரீ ரைட் கொடுக்குற, டீச்சர்ஸ்க்கு half the price, ஆர்மி பீப்புளுக்கு ஃப்ரீ ரைட், போலீஸ்மேனுக்கு ஃப்ரீ ரைட். He's seen very differently. Kumar, there is a traffic cop. ரஜினிகாந்த் மாதிரியே ஸ்டைல் பண்ணுவார் ஃபுல்லா டிராஃபிக் மேனேஜ் பண்றதுக்கு. அண்ட் யூ நோ வாட்ஸ் இஸ் டூபியஸ் ரெக்கார்ட்? 23 years of service in the traffic, the signal that he manages, not a single road accident. அவருக்கு மத்த டிராஃபிக் போலீஸ் வச்சிருக்க பேரு பொழைக்க தெரியாத மனுஷன். அவரை பத்தி கேட்கும் போது அங்க இருக்கிற பூக்கடை விற்கிற முனியமான்ற ஒருத்தவங்க என்கிட்ட சொன்னாங்க, when I was writing a story about him, அவர் வந்து எப்போதுமே ஒயிட் glove போட்டு தான் he will be on duty. Seldom do you see cops wearing white gloves. He will always clean இருக்கும் அந்த white glove. இந்த முனியமா அந்த பாட்டி என்கிட்ட சொல்றாங்க, குமார் தம்பி கையும் சுத்தம் மனசும் சுத்தம், இவ்வளவுதான் சொல்றாங்க. கிளீன் காப். ஆனா அவருக்கு பேர் மத்த போலீஸ்காரன் வச்சிருக்க பேர் பைத்தியக்காரன். So if you have to stand out to be a good teacher, trust me, you will not just receive bouquets all the time like what RIT is giving you today. Many times we will receive brickbats. But that is where you stand out. You inspire. அதனால தான் சொல்லுவோம், நம்மளுடைய ஆக்ஷன், if we can inspire somebody else to do more, that's where you become a leader. இந்த டீச்சர் மாதிரி நான் இருக்கணும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறான் பாருங்க ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்ட். that is where you lived your fulfilling life. or இந்த டீச்சர் மாதிரி நானும் பாடம் எடுக்கணும். that is where it is. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. So please look at compassion, confidence. We spoke. Humor is an absolute essential skill. No doubt about it. Great teachers always have a great sense of humor. Once or twice, a tinge of humor is always good. Needless to say, common sense. Common sense. And their last 2 points which they talk about is appreciation. They say how appreciating young kids can make a difference. And in India, appreciation does not come very easy. I go back to the report cards of our primary school section. 99 out of 100. Good. Can do better. Can do better. Some time good, keep it up. Some of the comments can do better, right? And in IT company, madam, ரொம்ப கொடுமையான ஒரு விஷயம் நடக்கும். We do something called appreciation week. இதான் உச்சகட்ட கொடுமை. 1 week we have portal where we can go and appreciate. எதுக்கு appreciate பண்றோனே தெரியாது. I appreciate you, I appreciate you, I appreciate you. அப்படியே மெசேஜ் அனுப்பிச்சிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. What is genuine appreciation is simply to say thank you. Is to simply to spot the goodness in the child or goodness in the student and say, hey, I saw that. Great job done. நீங்க காலேஜ்ல இருக்கீங்க, or somebody is dressed up very smartly. நல்லா போட்டிருக்காரு. You're looking very smart, good dressing sense. You know what? That child will every day will aspire to come and impress you. Very neat handwriting. It's about spotting that goodness. I don't know whether this video is available on YouTube, but if it's available, please watch it. A video called Well Done. How people have trained whales to perform in front of an audience. Adha மூணு principles தான் சொல்றாங்க. And these are 3 principles that any teacher can practice. 1, build trust with your students. Okay, nothing like trust. When the student know that I can trust my teacher, they will go miles and miles to achieve their results. Number 1. Number 2, they talk about accentuating the positive, which means look for positive in children. Any children who's positive, I think that's the second trait they're talking about. And third, they say when mistakes happen, redirect. When mistakes happen, don't focus on the mistake, correct the mistake, but redirect their energy to something else. And that's why they say appreciation becomes so very important, because and when you appreciate a child, irrespective of the age, appreciation is one thing even a 95-year-old man would want it. வீட்ல இருக்க கொள்ளு தாத்தா கிட்ட போய் நீங்க appreciate பண்ணாலும் he will feel nice, just like how a young kid would always want that, right? Last 2 points with which we will close. வீட்ல நிறைய கம்பேரிசன் நடக்கும். Parents are bound to be like that. Seldom do you come across parents, even parents who claim that I don't compare, அப்படின்றவங்க கூட will somewhere they keep comparing. The only mistake, a deadly mistake that we should never do is to compare students in class. அவன பத்தியா? And that's a sure shot method of how you will lose the trust with your students. எங்க வீட்ல இருந்த சேம் மம்மி சேம் டேடிக்கு இருந்த நானும் என் தம்பியுமே வேற போல்ஸ் அப்பார்ட். எங்க ஸ்கூல்லே கேட்பாங்க, ஓன் பிரதரா அப்படின்னுவாங்க. ஏன்னா அவன் வந்து கிளாஸ் ரூம் விட்டு வெளியிலே வர மாட்டான், நான் கிளாஸ்க்கு வெளியிலேயே தான் இருந்தேன். பாசிபிள், குவைட் பாசிபிள். நார்த் போல் அண்ட் சவுத் போல் இஸ் குவைட் பாசிபிள், ரைட்? அண்ட் வாட் ஹேப்பன்ஸ் வென் யூ கம்பேர் இஸ், நம்மளுக்கு வீட்டில் இருக்க அந்த சிப்ளிங் ரைபிளரே அதுதானே. அவன் இப்போ எங்க வீட்டில் என் தம்பி நல்லா படிப்பான், அவனுக்கு ரிப்போர்ட் கார்டு கொடுத்தா நம்மளுக்கு ரிப்போர்ட் கார்டு கொடுத்துறாங்கன்னு வீட்டில் தெரிஞ்சிடும். நான் பாதி நேரம் எங்க அப்பா அவுட் ஆஃப் ஸ்டேஷன்னே சொல்லிட்டு இருப்பேன். என் தம்பி ரிப்போர்ட் கார்டு கொடுத்தானே எங்க அப்பா பாப்பாரு என்னடா அப்படின்னு. இந்த ஸ்கூல்ல அது ஒரு கம்பேரிசன் வரும்போது டீச்சர்ஸ் when they compare, நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு வெறுப்பு வந்துடும். அவன் பாரு எப்படி படிக்கிறான். பட் நோ, இஃப் யூ லுக் அட் யுவர் ஸ்கூல் reunion, when we had our school reunion after 25 years, it's not the first year the first bench student who was successful. There was a mix. There were some students who were sitting in the first bench who were successful, but the biggest entrepreneur came from the last bench. A guy who was called இவ்வளோ ஹைட்டா வளர்ந்துருக்க ஏதாவது பண்ணிருக்கியா went on to win the Paramveer Chakra Award. So we never made a ஏறி பேசினது கிடையாது எங்க ஸ்கூல்ல. And today I'm delivering lecture number 2787, 2787. No way, unless and until some teacher spots that talent. எங்க காலேஜ் பிரின்சிபல் சொல்லியிருக்காரு Loyola, you can come into Loyola as a donkey, but when you go out, you should go out as a winning horse அப்படின்னுவாரு. Because educational institutions are the place where you identify yourself, and who helps identifying yourself? It's the teachers. It's the teachers who show the mirror and say, this is what you're good at, go for it, go for it, go for it. And I always say that a friend, choosing a friend is like some people who get the best out of you. And if you are surrounded by teachers who radiate positiveness, every child will bloom like a beautiful flower. Inikil, the last request that I have is every one of you, irrespective of the subject that you teach, please try and be a career counselor. It's the need of the hour. Need of the hour. இங்க இருக்கிற மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ஸ்டாஃப் கிட்ட கேட்டு பாருங்களேன், இவங்க இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜ் நடத்துறாங்க இல்லையா, ரெண்டு இன்ஜினியரிங் தான் இந்த வருஷம் உங்களுக்கு கண்ணுக்கே தெரிஞ்சிருக்கு பசங்களுக்கு. கம்ப்யூட்டர் சயின்ஸ் ஒரு ஐடி, அதுலயும் கம்ப்யூட்டர் சயின்ஸ் தான். ஐடி இல்ல, ஐடிலாம் வேணாங்க. சரி, இப்போ கம்ப்யூட்டர் சயின்ஸ் படிச்சு எங்கப்பா வரப்போற, ஐடி கம்பெனிக்கு தான் வரப்போற, ஆனா ஐடி வேணாம். பிகாம் ஜென்ரல் ஆர்ட்ஸ் ஸ்டூடெண்டா இருந்தா யார் சொன்னா? எங்க டீச்சர் சொன்னாங்க. So what technically happens is the child looks up to the teacher, and if the teacher is knowledgeable, if the teacher is knowing what's happening in the market, job market, what kind of courses are coming up and all this stuff, you can be the best career counselor. Because students trust their parents, and on the age more than the parents, sometimes they trust the teacher. That adala da koodittu varanga, ma'am neenga enga appa kitta pesrீங்களா, enga amma kitta pesrீங்களா அப்படினு. So if we can be good career counselors and guide them to the right path, I think we can build a very, very beautiful India. So that's the reason why I say teaching is a calling. It's not a profession for me. It's a calling. And it is this profession which will shape thousands and thousands and thousands of few students, getting them into the right direction. Okay. And in a way, please be thankful that God chose you to be a teacher. It's a great boon to be a teacher. Because lifelong you will be remembered. You will produce doctors, hundreds of doctors, IAS officers, maybe film actors, engineers and whatever. But they'll always look up to you as a teacher. எனக்கு 25 வருஷம் ஆச்சு எங்க ஸ்கூல் பிரின்சிபலை திருப்பி பார்க்கறதுக்கு. After I passed out of school, we lost touch. She left Chennai. After 25 years, I managed to get hold of her. I called her as a chief guest for the foundation function. The first thing I did when I saw her is just fell flat. Because I wanted to tell her that, look, I was not a failure. I went on to be successful, and you played a huge role for that. So some of us students always remembered great teachers. Be remembered as a great teacher. I wish each one of you good luck and my heartiest congratulations to you on winning this award. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring and thought-provoking speech. Thank you for giving us the lessons which you have observed in these past years. And it is true, sir, teachers are the best career counselors, and we always look up to them while choosing careers. It is time to honor the seamless efforts taken to elevate the society to a higher pedestal by the sheer dint of hard work in inculcating the students with quality education. Now, awards will be distributed to all the dedicated higher secondary school teachers who have put their very best in training their students. May I now request the director to present the shields to the teachers. And may I now request Dr. Mrs. Tangam Meghanathan to present the gifts to the teachers, and may I now request Mr. Sujit Kumar to distribute the certificates to the teachers who will be called now to the stage.
Dr. Tamari Selvi, Kola Perumal Selvi Vaishnava Senior Secondary School. Dr. Savitri, Sri Meenakshi Girls Higher Secondary School. Dr. Savitri, Sri Meenakshi Girls Higher Secondary School. Actually, I would like to call Meenakshi on receive this prize on behalf of Dr. Savitri. Please come. Dr. Maria Dorothy Anu, St. Joseph Residential School. Dr. Maria Dorothy Anu from St. Joseph
Residential School. Mrs. Sunila Cherian from SBOA Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Ananagar. Vice Principal Kala C from the Hindu Senior Secondary School. Bhuvaneshwari B, Sri Meenakshi Girls Higher Secondary School, Karekudi. Bhuvaneshwari B from Sri Meenakshi Girls Higher Secondary School, Karekudi. Nancy John B from KRM Public School, Chennai, Perambur, Chennai. Subhatra R from Sri Ramanuja Matriculation School, Subhatra from Sri Ramanujam Matriculation School, Nanguneri. Sigapai N from Amartha Vidyalayam Senior Secondary School, Tripura. Okay. Gajalakshmi K, Annai Violet International School, Ambattur, Chennai.
Merlin T, Bharatidas Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Tirumalai Nagar, Perungudi. Loganathan CEOA Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Kalainagar, Madurai. Chalapati Nagarjuna, Chennai Public School. Jnanavadipa V, Chinmaya Vidyalaya Senior Secondary School. Okay. Mrs. Ajita, Christ King Matriculation Higher Secondary School, East Tambaram, Chennai. Srimati V. Devi Academy Senior Secondary School, Chennai. Sridevi KM Dr. Nalli Kuppuswamy Vivekananda Vidyalaya Junior College, Korattur, Chennai. Mrs. Jamila Salal, Ebenezer Maris Metric Higher Secondary School, Ambattur, Chennai. Asha S. Goibel Public School, Main Road, Tenkasi. Sorry. Malarvili Government Higher Secondary School, Kanyakumari District. Next one. Usha N. Jayagopal Garagodia Matriculation Higher Secondary School.
Dhanalakshmi M. Jaya Jaya Shankara International School, Nazarat Peti, Chennai. Ratna S. Pandian, Kamalavati Senior Secondary School, Sri Paramudu, Thoothukudi District. Ratna S. Pandian, Murugan alias Prakasam S. Kola Perumal Chetty Vaishnava Senior Secondary School, Arumbakam, Chennai. Mr. Rakesh Indulkar B. KVOCF Avadi, Chennai. Sasikala S. Sasikala S. Madanal. Kemani. Okay, one more. Kemali Vivekananda Vidyalaya, Gumadipundi. Lata K. Kemani Vivekananda Vidyalaya, Gumadipundi. Evangeline Sharon P. Madras Christian College Metric Higher Secondary School, Shetpet, Chennai. Maheshwari S. Maharishi Vidya Mandir Senior Secondary School, Shetpet, Chennai. Mr. Shubha Balakrishnan, Maharishi Vidya Mandir Senior Secondary School.
Hema Malini M, Maharishi Vidya Mandir Senior Secondary School, Chennai. Jabakumari J, MCC Campus Matriculation Higher Secondary School, East Tambram, Chennai. Analarisu EP, Panchayat Union Middle School, Kanchipuram. Okay. Josephine Mirunalini P, Pon Vidyashram Unique School, Chennai.
I would like to call the next teacher, Antuvan Dinakaran, to receive the prize, receive the gift for Josephine Mirnalini P. Please, sir. Antuvan Dinakaran S, Pon Vidyashram Unique School, Yadla Nagalakshmi Sanskrit Public School, Tirutani. Kanaga G, Shivanti Matriculation Higher Secondary School, okay, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Durga R. Unni B, SKNS PMC Vivekananda Vidyalaya Junior College, Perambur, Chennai. Maheshwari S, NDJ Vivekananda Vidyalaya Senior Secondary School, MKB Nagar, Chennai. Nalini Devi, Sri Ramadayala Kemka Vidyalaya Vivekananda Vidyalaya Junior College, Tiruvattiur, Chennai. Suzanne Phillips M, Sri Venkateshwara Vidyalaya Senior Secondary School, Ayambakam, Chennai. Lima Jasmine A, Sri Venkateshwara Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Ambattur, Chennai. Ramani S, SSKV Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Kanchipuram. Rajendran CS, St. Brito's Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Adambakam, Chennai. Francis Xavier, St. Mary Matriculation School, Sri Peramatur. Dhanalakshmi V, the Hindu Senior Secondary School, Adayar, Chennai.
Rengarajan S, the Hindu Senior Secondary School, Triplicane, Chennai. Miss Malar Selvi U, the Holy Cross Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Chennai. Kamalavali S, the Holy Cross Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Chennai. Jagadishwaran A, Vallamal Bodhi Campus, Chennai Kolkata High Road, Tiruvallur District. Nandini C, Visakan SBSE Senior Secondary School, Madurai. Usha R, Vivekananda Academy Senior Secondary School, Kangayam. Sasikumar M, Vivekananda Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Red Hills, Chennai. Sasikumar M, Vivekananda Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Red Hills, Chennai. Vasant Kumar R, Wesley's Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Kolattur, Chennai. Vasant Kumar R, Wesley's Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Kolattur, Chennai. Lata G, Maharishi International Residential School, Kanchipuram District. I would like to thank the dignitaries on the stage. I would like to thank the dignitaries on the stage. Please be seated. May I now request our principal, Dr. P.K. Nagarajan, to propose the vote of thanks.
Very good morning to one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver a vote of thanks for this event to all dignitaries assembled here. Rajalakshmi Institute of Technology, founded in 2008 with the annual intake of 180. Now we augmented to 660 intake. So we are having various branches like computer science engineering, computer communication, AI data science, and computer science with business system, mechanical engineering, all these programs being offered here. And our college is accredited by National Board of Accreditation for all the eligible departments, computer science engineering, ECE and mechanical engineering. And also we have got accreditation from NAC with A grade. And our institution is offering excellent placement record. We are having a excellent state-of-art facility inside the campus. So this building itself, a green building certified building. So we take care of the environment. You would have seen inside the campus, it's a complete green covered. So we are having a better coverage inside the campus. And also our centers of excellence like Center for AI, Center for Data Science, Center for IoT. So all these centers are helping our students to enhance their hands-on experience, because when you are talking about engineering, hands-on is very much important. So we do believe that all our trainings leads to hands-on, so that they will be better equipped and also they will be better placed in the campuses. So our campus placements are extremely good. So we are offering an excellent state-of-art facility for the students for teaching learning environment. And also we do our best to counsel our students, mentor our students to go for higher education also. So most of our students are going to higher education in leading universities in US, UK and Australia and many other countries in Europe also. So our students got placed in companies like Tesla also. So they are working in companies like Tesla in US and also Microsoft, Infosys, and so many top Fortune 500 companies they are working all over the world. So they are doing extremely good in their career. I formally propose my vote of thanks now. I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. Bhaskar Ramamurthy, who honored this function with his thoughts through virtual mode. And also I would like to thank our guest, Mr. Sujit Kumar, Head HR, Infosys, for his wonderful speech and handing over the awards to all teachers gathered here. I would like to thank our beloved chairperson, ma'am, Dr. Tangam Meghanathan, for constant motivation, guidance, and support to conduct such events in our campus. I also thank our beloved vice chairman, Dr. Harishankar Meghanathan, for his guidance, motivation, and support for this event. Also, I thank our director for delivering the inaugural address and motivating us in guiding all the activities which is happening inside the campus. Teachers are the backbone of any country and pillar upon which all aspirations are covered into the realities. I would like to thank all awardees and their family members for their valuable presence in this program. I also thank our outreach coordinator, Mr. Prince Bhagyaraj, for his involvement and coordinating this entire event. And also I thank all our HODs, faculty members, admin staff to make this event a memorable one for everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you. Jai Hind.
I request everyone to raise for the national anthem.
Jala
Please be seated. Thank you everyone for having participated in the RIT Teachers Awards program. The family of Rajalakshmi wishes you good luck on all your future endeavors. Dear teachers, kindly have lunch after 12 noon at the campus center. Our student volunteers will guide you to the campus center.
Dear teachers, we have taken the photographs and the photographs will reach your mail, your personal mail. All right. Thank you.
One more thing, I request Ms. Nandini C from Wisconsin CBSE Senior Secondary School to come near the dais.